Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, David, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Yeah, we're in the middle of this damn thing called the off season, but I realize there's no off season for you.
No, and especially when we're doing a few projects like moving the Texas team to Indianapolis and getting everything under one roof. So all good
Yeah,
things, but definitely busy.
right. Well, you brought it up. Let's start with that. What's behind the move? Because I mean, we all found it logistically eye-opening to consider that, for the last several years, you've been operating out of two different shops. What have been the upsides and downsides of that, and why are you bringing the two halves of the team together?
Sure. Well, and it was an interesting progression on how it kind of took place. When we grew from one cars to two, and at that time we were operating everything out of Texas, and I just struggled to get the mechanics that knew how to work on IndyCar, get the engineers to commit to moving to Texas, because the engineers, they obviously like to walk out on the floor, look at their race cars, touch their race cars, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. And so I just really struggled to get the personnel. That's when we ended up buying the race shop up in Speedway, Indiana.
Hmm.
Moved one car up there at the time because still, as this has happened, AJ was very hands-on. We still had a lot of loyal people. We try to be a very loyal company. We had a lot of people that have been with us a long time down here. So that's kind of how that transition toward Indianapolis started to happen, and slowly just things continued to move up there. Next thing you know, the gearbox department's up there, the shock department's up there, and we got to the point where last year we had about 6, 8 mechanics in Texas, and that's really all we had. So it was time, and AJ knew he was on board. Everyone was on board to get everything under one roof. I think we felt like, hey, we had an awesome year with Santino getting us in the top 10 in the championship, and
Yeah.
what's the next step competitive wise? And I think that was just to consolidate, get everything under one roof.
Well, I mean, in our own heads, we've all kind of considered that Indianapolis is the second home for Mr. Foyt, anyway, because I mean that he what was his expression about that his career was made by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I mean, he sells himself short on that as usual, but no, I mean it's absolutely.
Always, yeah, always. And there's so many great stories. I mean, even when I think I know everything, over the Thanksgiving break, I started reading the book that Art Garner wrote on him, and I was learning things
Yeah,
that even I didn't know about. It was fantastic. Yeah.
never far from my grasp, I assure you. Yeah.
So yeah, quite a story, and just reading a lot of the history with him and Tony Holman, which obviously I'd heard a lot of it, but it's no, Indy always holds a special place for our family. And AJ's, I mean, I'm excited. We're going up next week. We're doing a Christmas party for the guys up there, and even AJ's like, I want to go, and and that was great. So no,
Yeah.
it's exciting. We're still going to keep a lot of our kind of our bookwork and things down in Texas, and some of our people here that handle all that. But I think it'll be nice to have all the mechanics and engineers in one place.
Yeah. I've always kind of seen two sides of the coin as far as having a race shop outside of Indy, in that it's it's you're less likely to have your staff poached, but it's also harder to poach stuff yourself. So
No,
yeah.
there are definitely pros and cons, and um, I kind of had a laugh with some of the Penske guys. Obviously, we're working together with Penske,
Hmm.
and I said, "Are there any shops available down in North Carolina right now? Maybe I'll come down with you guys." So we kind of had a laugh, but yeah, that
Yeah.
is the negative about Indy is you're competing with all the other teams. So that's just for for personnel and for things. It's very easy for someone to make a switch, but that's okay. I mean, that falls on me and our management team to make sure that we have a place people want to work.
Now, Santino Ferrucci obviously produced, a very, very consistent season. I think there are only like three, three finishes outside the top 20, and most of them all inside the top dozen. We haven't seen that kind of consistency from one of your drivers before. How? how special was last season? Did it feel like the big step forward?
Well, it really did. And I think it was just, it felt like when we got to the racetrack, we were more prepared and we just, IndyCar, the weekends happen quickly. The
Yes.
practice sessions fly by. You maybe get 3 or 4 changes in a session. So you just really have to unload in the ballpark. You know, you have to unload and be kind of know where you're at. So having those other Penske cars as quote unquote teammates or whatever, at least where we can see the feedback from them as well, super helpful. And it
Right.
just, I don't know, everything was just really clicking. I think Santino and I got along well. um, I enjoy working with him, and me being on the radio with him. I think we just enjoy racing together. We have fun, and the kid's a racer. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him, but I also get nervous when he goes and runs his midget and stuff like that. I was like, come on, Santino, I've got a lot invested in you, bud. And we laugh about it. But he says, I'll be safe, boss. I said, I know you will. But he just loves to race, and he's really, I think, maturing as a driver. He's come a long way with his craft, especially I think on the qualifying side. He would always say, oh, I'm not a good qualifier. And I said, well, you got the pole at Portland. You can't say that anymore. You know how to
Exactly.
qualify. So just,
Exactly.
yeah, really enjoy. I'm glad we're continuing with him, and want to just keep it going forward.
Right. As far as your second driver for 2025, David Malukas, um, does it, there's a lot of speculation, and I try not to, put you too much on the spot here, but there's a lot of speculation that you guys are kind of like Penske B team, and that you're prepping David Malukas for the long term for joining Team Penske. How much has that been discussed, and how hard is it to start building a team around him if you think, oh, the main team might want to grab him soon?
Well, look, I think obviously there's the Penske organization has a lot of people that have a lot of success in this industry. So when I'm looking at drivers too, I certainly run things by them because I want to know their feedback and what they think. So obviously they were very high on Malukas. Um, but no, I'll try to keep him, right. I mean, that's
Yes, exactly.
if we're going good, certainly I would try to keep him. But no, of course, some of their, they've got drivers, I think, coming up in contract years and things like that. But I don't think they've made any decisions that they're certainly moving on from anybody. I think everybody's just going to see how things shake out. But we're just excited. We're excited to have two young guys that can really know how to push the pedal. I think that'll push each other. Um,
Yes,
and it'll be fun. So I think if we can, yeah, I mean, no, I'm really excited about David. His comeback from his injury was just awesome. I mean, the speed
yeah,
he showed, and we're just going to try to put a good car under him and have him and Santino fighting for wins, hopefully.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a real tough cookie because I mean, he denied that he was in pain at Laguna Seca to greater or lesser extent, but I can't think of a worse a worse track to try and come back from a wrist injury. But there
Tough,
you
yeah.
go. Yeah, no, I think you've got a good gritty one there. Um, as far as the short ovals are concerned, do you feel that he is going to? Well, I'm not sure how much you need to add because Santino is just a sensation on short ovals, but so too is David. I mean, can we predict a 1-2 come Milwaukee?
Well, that would be wonderful, and especially with all our history there. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, look, we all know, we all talk about it, how tough the IndyCar series is. My
Yeah,
goodness, the drivers in this series are just also good, and the teams are also good. Everything's so tough that, like I said, you just really have to unload fast on the weekend. I think we've got some great starting setups to start from. And man, and no, with the two drivers that we have, I'm very excited. I mean, you don't want to go over the top and say, oh yeah, we're going to be fighting for 1-2. This is just, man, I mean, no one does that in this series. It's just that tough, and any weekend can be your weekend, and everything just has to go right. For us, obviously, we're putting a big emphasis on pit stops because that half a second, you can't lose that in the pits. It's just too competitive. So we've started a new training program and new stuff on that side to really try to get that next half second there on the pit stops.
Um, let's talk about Indy, because last couple of years, Santino's qualified in the top 10, or well, in the second row, actually. And, third place and eighth place finishes. Do you, I mean, I know it's the greatest dream in the world for any racer, but suddenly the Indy 500 victory that you've sought for, decades, it kind of looks feasible.
It does. We had leading up to the last couple of years, we had some flashes, right? With Kanan leading the race and a flat
Yes.
tire. I mean, we definitely had the car and driver to win that day, and flat tire put us out of contention, unfortunately. Obviously, Takuma Sato is very good there, and we had some fast cars, not quite the
Yep.
cars. We didn't have the qualifying speed and the things that we've been doing lately to get there, but like you say, Santino's just really smart about that race. He gets it.
Mm.
He understands the last 50 laps are what matters. And we've had good speed, and David should be good there as well. Just, man, everything's got to go your way that day at Indianapolis, and hitting everything right, hitting the weather right, and the downforce levels. Everything just has to go well. And but
Yeah.
yeah, no, again, that's the one, right? That's the one you want to win. That's the one I want to win for Dad and for our team. Just to be able to do that again would be huge for us and our organization.
The downside is that it might finally prompt AJ to retire, and we don't want that.
Never, never. But yeah,
No.
yeah, to be able to do that with him one time would be
Oh,
so cool. And got to give props, man. Chevrolet has been great the last few years. I think they've really done a good
yes.
job there, and I know they always work hard at that race. So glad that we're with them, and yeah, I definitely want to win that one.
I mean, perfect timing. I wanted to ask, how much of a headache or complication has it been for you to uh, deal with the hybrid unit? I mean, obviously, it's been pretty darn reliable, but is there an extra layer of complication that means that you have to get a specific engineer to, I don't know, learn how to instruct the drivers in the best way to optimize this at any given track?
Sure. Well, I think you're right. I think there was a lot of work. You got to give it to Honda and Chevrolet and the teams that were developing that thing, because they did a good job. Once we did get our
Mhm.
hands on it, it wasn't nearly as tough as we maybe thought it would be.
Right.
Obviously, as on the team owner side, the expense of it has been a lot. That as we are renegotiating sponsor things and deals like that, just trying to add in and build in what that is added to the overall racing budget. It was certainly substantial. But what was cool was, I think some guys, not having worked with David yet, but Santino was he really adapted to it quickly, in the sense of, you do have more switches you can go to. You can control how much regen versus, how is that changing the car handling, when you deploy, how you deploy. It does add a lot of different maps and settings. But I think these
Mm.
young kids now that are growing up with iRacing, they're growing up on the Sims, and they're hitting buttons, 10 buttons in 5 seconds. And
Yes.
so it comes pretty natural for them. I'd probably be lost, or some of the older
Me
guys.
too, bro.
But it certainly added an element. But hey, I think it's been great to talk about. It's been cool to see how we're using it, and love yeah, no, now having a year with it, and that we got some setups, I think, pretty good, that with the balance shift of what that unit added weight wise in the car. I think the engineers on our group at least did a super job to sort that out and get the drivers pretty comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, the just shifting the brake balance continually. It just seems like a completely unnecessary complication. But on the other hand, speaking to Craig Hampson the other day, and he was saying how much he loved the fact that IndyCar left so much in the driver's hands compared with other hybrid units that are used in motorsports. So, um, Someone's asking questions like regarding Michael Cameron and his departure from the team, and how much of a difference he made to your pace at the Indy 500, and how much will he be missed?
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, Michael, what he came in and did for us at Indy was fantastic. I mean, he loves that place, and he's a bit of a magician there, man. And he knows how to get around that place, and it's awesome. So, well, we're certainly going to miss that. I hate that we couldn't work it out. It just just a couple differences of things, and he obviously wanted, I think, to try something new. So
Hmm.
I wish him all the best, and we're very thankful for what he brought to the table. It was great to work with him for a couple of years. I'd been trying to hire him for years, and we finally got to work together, and pretty special those couple of years at Indy, no doubt.
Yeah, I think Penske's pretty grateful about what he brought to the table as well. They suddenly
Yeah, I mean, obviously
couldn't
they,
speed in
they were
qualifying.
still winning. They still won the race, the 2 years that we were
Yeah,
working, but they're great there as well. But yeah, no, Michael's great for sure.
right. Um, as a team owner looking ahead to 2027, uh, how much of an input do you feel you've had with the next gen car, and what have been your priorities when trying to make that contribution in terms of like what are your major demands from the series and from Delara, I guess.
Sure. I mean, there's a few different things. Obviously, we all, and even when we're in owners meetings, we all probably have some different priorities. But I think the biggest thing is everybody is thinking of the common good, right? And
Hmm.
uh, the only thing one thing you're concerned about, obviously, when you're bringing out a new car is like, okay, we don't want to go backwards, right? We've had such good racing. Sometimes it's a struggle at maybe short ovals and hitting the arrow right and things like that to make sure that we can have good racing. But overall, it's pretty good. So you don't want to mess that up. And also, I think you can't argue the job Delara has done on the safety of the
Hmm.
DW12 and how far that's come. Um, some of the accidents we've seen and drivers just walking away has been amazing. And so that's something you definitely just want to make sure you keep there. Uh, as a team owner, you're just always hopeful that you've got enough places on the car that you can sell and get your partners out there and make sure they have good visibility, but that the thing is safe and raceable, and also that it's starting to look racy and it's a step forward from that aspect, and that it's good for the fans. So it's a bit of everything, and they've got really, what I would say is there's some really good people working on it.
Hmm.
I appreciate they do listen to us, I think, at the owners meetings as we voice our opinion, and it looks like it's going to be a nice piece. So I know it's still a lot going on with it, but I think it'll be good time. It's a good time for IndyCar to go that way.
That level of safety is possible. It is possible to make that level of safety, but lighter, but also hugely more expensive. Do you kind of like wait and see how much of a difference the new Fox TV deal makes in terms of convincing sponsors to join before pulling the trigger on more exotic materials and therefore raising the expense of competing in IndyCar? How does that compute? Because obviously however strong your race team is, you're going to make the numbers work as well. Otherwise, there's just no, it becomes less feasible to take on, the Penskes and Ganassis and so on.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I know just with our I'll say smaller racing team, probably in comparison to the Penske's and Andretti's and McLaren's, things like that. I know we've broke definitely some spending records this year on things, but you also, if you want to be competitive in IndyCar, you are going to have to compete with those big budgets. So it takes, that's where I'm spending a majority of my time, is out there working on raising the funding that we can go do what we want. And it's certainly a challenge. The Fox deal is exciting. Um, the having every race on network, I think, is a very big deal. Should should help our numbers, because metrics are a place that nowadays all these sponsors want to see. Uh,
Yes.
and that's being able to have those metrics and have those measurables and try to deliver on those is a big deal. So we're growing our marketing department as well as we try to compete with that. And it's part of the game right now. I don't think it's all negative. I think it's exciting. I think IndyCar as a whole is growing.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think open wheel, I mean, just with the success of Formula One, you certainly hope all boats are going to rise. And I think
Mm.
the crossovers there and the fan base they have, and with what we do as well, is very promising.
Right. Um, as far as big name sponsors are concerned, I mean, I was driving home the other night, and my wife said, pointed to an ABC supply chain and said, "Are they still with Foyt?" And I'm thinking, okay, that must have just sunk into your head so a long time ago, because she has a passing interest in the sport, but not deep rooted. Obviously, they are synonymous with you. How long does it take to build up a sponsor relationship like that, where they become absolutely tied to your name? And is there, is there a way to ever form those kind of like season-long sponsorships again, so we don't have the kind of like constantly changing color scheme situation that so many teams are having to do, almost emulating the NASCAR model?
Sure. Yeah, and I think you hit on something there. I mean, I think the days of that one paint scheme all year are probably, just with where our budgets are now, that
Mm,
they're few and far between. The ABC deal was amazing, and it was just something that kind of happened organically, that we just grew. It was something. It started at the Indy 500 with AJ and Ken Hendricks and David Luck all getting to know each other, and from there it just slowly grew. And then what was awesome is, as ABC grew, the racing program grew as well. So
mm,
they were acquiring companies, and so there were new employees that hadn't been to the races, and it just made sense as we kept growing. So uh, it's awesome that they're still with us. I mean, they are like family friends. They're such a great organization, and I'll tell you what they're doing now, though. They've just pivoted to, obviously, the Homes for Our Troops program. They're really
yes.
big about giving back, and that is such a cool car and program at the Indy 500. The money we raise to help build homes for post 9/11 veterans. What a cool program and touching. I've been to some of the home giveaways, and wow, I mean, it just really hits you deep. And the car is so
Absolutely.
beautiful on Memorial Day weekend, and it's
Yeah.
been a great program. So yeah,
Yeah, there's
thankful for that.
nothing more patriotic looking actually than that car on the grid. Hey, as far as the third manufacturer, I've had a few discussions the last few days about how important that is, kind of to both Chevy and Honda, to get a third manufacturer in. Is that something that team owners can help make happen? And do you think it's feasible in the next couple of years?
So, I don't get too involved in it. I listen, it obviously comes up at the owners' meetings, and we discuss those things. But I know if anybody can do it, Roger and his group will make it happen. So I know I think it is a priority for them, and they're working on it. So yeah, it's I don't get too involved in that, but I think it would be great for the sport, and we'll see. I know I'm sure it's very hard when you've had Honda and Chevrolet getting everything out of this package for so many
Yes.
years to come in. That's got to be a daunting task for somebody, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, I trust that Roger and his group and IndyCar, they'll figure out if it's the right move or not.
All right. Um, Got another question posted here. Does Larry view technology advancing further in IndyCar, such as data analytics and AI, to give the racing team a competitive edge? I am a bit at odds with the Penske synergies, uh, such as, I don't know, I don't understand the rest of that sentence because I'm a reader, not an interviewer. But no, do you see data analytics and AI advancements as coming to IndyCar?
I mean, absolutely. I think AI is the next. If you think of how much data we try to go through in a short period of time,
Yes.
where I think AI could be extremely helpful. And yes, we are actually in talks with AI companies now as we, of course, the engineers get very excited about it because it's a bit of a, a new frontier for us in racing, and there's not always new frontiers in racing that can come, especially that I think could make a difference. We do spend a lot of money, and this is kind of an argument that we have maybe in the owners' rooms because there are people on both sides. But we look at one of the largest places we spend money in IndyCar is, of course, your dampers, your shock absorbers. And the thought is, well, this is a technology that the fans don't really get to see. It's under a
Absolutely.
cover. We all hide it, but we're spending a crazy amount of resources because it makes such a huge difference. And I think you go to even a Formula One race, and they're even, I don't even think they use inerter dampers on the side springs. So, but we've gone down this inertia path, and it's an amazing technology, and it works on the racetrack if you hit it right. But it is a big expense, and all of us to be competitive are doing it. But it's I think AI is the next frontier. It's exciting, and definitely data crunching. And yeah, if you can have any kind of advantage in that side of things, it'll just help you out.
Yeah, I mean the shop program, it is expensive, and there's not, there's nothing visible. There's no notable benefits from the fans. But where would you spend that money instead? Where do you think that we can have a point of differentiation within the teams?
Well, I mean, you're right, because we're going to spend it somewhere, right? So if it's not,
absolutely,
and when we're all running, the same body work and the same chassis, so where you go spend that money, it's in smaller things, and maybe you're looking for 100th here and 100th of a second there, instead of back in the day where you were really controlling your horsepower, building your engines, and you could go find 30 horsepower. You're not going to do that anymore. We're looking for a horsepower or a half a horsepower to try to differentiate ourselves. So it's just the nature of the beast. We're all racers. We're going to spend the money one way or another. It's just where we spend it, and if we're spending it the right way.
Right. I see our time is drawing to a close here. Francisco and Judy, you're back on. But Larry, it's been enlightening. Thank you so much for your time, and very best of luck. And wishing you and the whole Foyt family, and I do mean the team members as well, very Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you much. Merry Christmas, and appreciate y'all having me on.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, IndyCar, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck with Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based CTech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in CTech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.